I think the first thing to remember is there's never the perfect team, you know, and we tell ourselves this the whole time, and there's never the perfect employee. I think we're really good in our industry of saying, oh, they're not very good, or they're good at this, but they're not very good at that. You know, it's really, really important that first of all you understand that there's not the perfect employee, there's not the perfect manager. No one in this room is perfect at what they do, and you know, we do spend quite a lot of time, actually an extraordinary amount of time, talking about our people, and certainly when we're opening new hotels, about trying to match people to people. So your hotel director might be quite a big picture, might be very hospitable, like to be out on the floor, but they need someone below them who is administrative. You need to complement each other's skills. So we took on this challenge of trying to analyse the whole people problem. And we broke it down into two really main parts. It's one, recruitment. How do we go about recruiting these people? How do we go about recruiting the right people? And then how do we retain them? We started to see that, you know, that one, the recruitment system wasn't working well. We weren't recruiting well. And then two, we weren't retaining people. So traditionally, we as operators like to pick CVs of people that we think are the right fit. And our recruitment person was able to pick out CVs that are being turned down. So she pulled a CV which someone had disregarded, not even phone called, phone screened, and he is now going out to be run the restaurant at our hotel in France. So whether they culturally fit, you have to meet them first. You know, we're trying to commit to having a phone conversation with every single person that applies to us. And I know that might not sound a huge amount, but for some of us it is. You know, you can have a position out there and have 20 or 30 applications, and it's important that you do speak to each one, because if we talk about personality over skills, then how are you going to know unless you had a conversation with them? But at the end of the day, it's about finding someone that's hospitable. And that's what it's about. And unless you speak, how can you tell if someone's hospitable from a cover letter or a WhatsApp application? You know, it's about making sure that we really understand these people, that they really understand what we're about. And if we can't even be bothered to phone them, how inhospitable is that? And then there's also the side of things that, you know, you make up your mind, so the theory says, about whether you want to work a place in the first 3 months. So I reckon it's probably the first week actually, but someone who's they've applied to us, they've made the decision to apply, they want to come and work with us, and then in the first week they don't really get met. Their rota they started on a Monday, their rota came to them on a Sunday. The staff food on the first day was rubbish. We had to ask them to work an extra hour on the fourth day because we were all a bit short. And those are the things which we realise that it's all the little bits and pieces in someone's employment that makes a difference about whether they're going to stay. And they might only stay for 18 months, but I'd further say them 18 months than 3 months. There's an expectation of a work-life balance now. You know, I'm sure some of you around this room are brilliant. We sometimes are not, about giving people a rota 3 days before they're supposed to work the next week. It's quite classic in our industry. How do you feel as someone who gets their rota 3 days before? You feel as though you don't know what's going on, you feel a bit rubbish. How do you feel as someone who's got the next 2 months' rotas laid out? You feel wonderful. And as hoteliers and operators, we sit there saying, oh, no, there's no way I can give a rota 2 months out because I don't know what the business is. I don't know whether we're going to have an event on that day. Well, you need to get over that, and you need to set your rota out in place. And then if you need to make a little adjustment, you have someone on standby, whatever it might be. So we always try and be a fair payer. One of the things that we came up with at the end of our summit was that we wanted to be a kind employer. And forget firm but fair. We often hear that. I had a chat with him and I was firm, but I was fair. Well, fair is a little bit subjective. Kind isn't. I think when we're employing, it's about a connection. But more than that, we try and make sure that it's an enjoyable place to work. I think chucking someone an extra couple of grand doesn't keep them. We will pay for a case of wine for a sommelier to be tasting for his exams that he's going through. That's a separate thing for that person. We will ensure that our budding entrepreneurs, so we have a group, we have various different groups within the business. Budding entrepreneurs is our kind of I was understood it when I first started as a management training scheme, and it's not that at all, because they don't have to become managers. It's just about saying to an 18-year-old, we really see something in you, and we're going to expose you to the whole business, and we're going to put you through different areas, and it's a two-year program. But what it means is, very selfishly, is that we get an employee for 2 years rather than 6 months. But actually, they're now our director of revenue, they run one hotel, they are a restaurant manager, in fact 2 restaurant managers, so we do move them up through. But for instance, with those guys, they get to come to them, they each have a mentor, so it might be me, Robin, David, and some senior people within the business, and they get to kind of come along to our meetings. So Robin will take them to the bank meeting. So as a junior employee, you're going to the bank meeting with the CEO, and that's the kind of stuff that I think really kind of energizes people. So we're very much about craft. We talk about craft the whole time. Robin's always talking about it's people and product, it's not about profit. And actually, very rarely do we ever talk about profit. We really, really don't.